Good morning, everyone. Let me first start by saying, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. As students of religion, we thank Almighty God, Allah, for all of his prophets and all of the messages that they brought. We thank Allah for Moses in the Old Testament. We thank Allah for Jesus and the disciples in the New Testament, or the Injil, the gospel as it's referred to. We thank Allah for Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah of 1400 years ago, and the divine revelation of the Holy Quran, the book of scripture of the Muslims. But as a student of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I can never thank Allah enough for his intervention in our affairs in the divine person of Master Prophet Muhammad, for raising up in our midst a messenger, Messiah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and for leaving one as a reminder that God is not to come, but God has already arrived. And that person I'm speaking of is a divine reminder, comforter, mercy from God in our midst, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In their names, I want to greet each and every one of you in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
If you're not familiar with that greeting, it's simply a greeting that means peace be unto you. We hope that, especially in this time, that God's peace is on each and every one of you in this room, your families, everybody that you know and that you love. Because we're living in an hour where peace is hard to find. Can we agree upon that? Yeah. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the family and the believers all send their condolences to the family at the loss of our brother, Jason, Iman, Deen, Suliaman. I was asked, I didn't know Brother Jason, but I was asked by his beloved mother to say a few words because Jason had a leaning towards Islam. He was a Muslim. And so I'm honored to be here today, even though I didn't know brother. But talking to his mother, talking to his children, talking to his siblings, I feel like I missed him. I mean, he looks familiar to me. I'm looking at the obituary, and he looks familiar. But talking to them, I feel like I missed him. Our prayers are that Allah will lift the burden of sorrow from each and every one of your hearts. Allah says in the Holy Quran that he gives life and he causes death. He shapes, evolves us in the womb of our mothers. Some he takes in the cradle, others in our youth, others he allows to grow into old age. Brother Jason was a young man, and it's quite natural for us to grieve the loss of such a young person who had so much more life to live. But it is also important that we know and understand that even though we're feeling such a tremendous loss, because it is a tremendous loss, that each and every one of us at some point got to go exactly where Brother Jason is. Is that right? In fact, the only way that we could avoid going where Brother Jason is if we were never born. So death is a part of life. We miss him. We miss him because from what I've learned of my brother, the recurring theme is that he loved. Those he loved, he loved. And so we're going to miss that about this beautiful brother. He wasn't perfect. I'm learning that too. He wasn't perfect, but none of us are perfect. Is that right? As a matter of fact, if you are perfect, raise your lying hand right now. I'm going to keep mine down too. Because none of us are perfect. We are here for a certain time. We're all here for a certain reason. We're all here for a certain season. This is what I want you all to do. Find comfort. And I'm not going to be here long. I just want to give us a few words. Find comfort in the fact that you knew him. Find comfort in the fact that God put him in each and every one of our lives for a certain reason, for a certain season, and find value in the fact that you knew him. I don't want us, in Islam, the focus is never on grief, even though it's natural to grieve. But we don't play a whole lot of sad music, sad songs. We're not we're not trying to be depressed, or we have to just realize the value of this man's life and take it with us. Because here's the reality that a lot of us don't understand. There's another ayat or verse in the Quran that reads like this. It says, "Think not of those who die or who are killed in the way of Allah as dead. Nay, they are alive, but you perceive not." You say, okay, Brother Harvey, what does that mean?
Come on.
What does that mean? They are alive? I'm going to put it to you like this. I'm not going to get up here and lie to you. I'm not going to tell you that Brother Jason is up in the sky somewhere in a mansion and he's waiting for you, and then someday you're going to see him again in the same form that you've seen him on this earth. I'm not going to tell you that because I don't know that to be true. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you. But what I will say is this. What I do know to be true are certain spiritual and physical laws that cannot be denied. Physical law says that energy can never be destroyed. Energy or spirit or soul can never be destroyed. It only changes forms. Let me illustrate this. Electricity is ever present, but you can only perceive or sense electricity by sight or feel when it has a conductor. So electricity is in the room, but we only know that it's present because the lights are on. There's a conductor. See, Jason, the spirit, the soul that is Jason, is still here. See, the body, that's just the house that Jason used to live in. But his spirit, his soul has returned to its source. It has returned to Allah. But a little bit of that spirit, that soul, I see when I look at his mother. I see it. I'm looking at his picture, and then I'm looking at his son, Brother Kadeem. I see Jason. I see it in his daughter. I see it in Sister Shayla. I see it in his siblings. Because however he affected us, however he loved on us, that's never going anywhere. Do you understand? We do another thing in Islam. And I brought my brother with me today, and he has some mints. Brother, could you pass those mints around?
Yes, sir.
Just everybody take a mint. They're COVID free. They're individually wrapped. So there's no. Okay, so before you put it in your mouth, right? Before you put it in your mouth, I would like to say a prayer. And you can just stay seated, and I'll just say the prayer. Everybody got their mint? Almost everybody got their mint. All right, so I'm going to say this prayer. And I'm just going to close my eyes and I'm going to cup my hands as if I'm receiving a gift. You can pray in whatever manner in which you want to pray. And I'm going to start by saying, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the beneficent, the most merciful. Sole master of this day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, and thy name do we seek. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favor, not the path of those whom thy wrath has brought down, nor those who have gone astray after hearing thy teaching. Amen. Now, what I would like for you all to do is just to take that mint and put it in your mouth. And what this mint or candy represents is the fullness and the sweetness of a life of a righteous person, of a person who loved. But as the candy is naturally worn away by the natural juices that are in the mouth, so the life that is in the body actually wears away. And once the body is gone and the candy is gone, all we are left with in the mouth is the sweet taste of the candy that we had fully just a few moments ago. And likewise, when our loved one is passed, all we are left is with the sweet memory of our communion with him. In this case, Brother Jason. Just remember the sweetness. Everything else, at the end of the day, it really don't matter. Because no matter what Jason did that was bad while he was here on this earth, we're not thinking about that, are we? We're really not. We usually always remember the best part of one another once we're gone. Because once you're gone, there's a period put behind your name. Right? There's a period put behind their name to where you can look at that person in the totality. And usually, if it's a good brother, their good is going to outweigh their evil. Right? And so I want to thank again the family again for allowing me to take part in my brother's homegoing. And I just want to encourage you all, just remember that our brother loved, and remember the best part. And let's focus on that and recognize the best part of him that is still with each and every one of us. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Now, what we want to do next is we're going to have members of the family who want to say some words. Do we have a time limit for each person?
We have plenty of time, sir, as far as getting to the cemetery.
Okay.
So
All right.
no rush today.
Okay. Good. All right. So we could bring up the first person, whoever would like to speak.
I'll go first.
All right. It doesn't matter. She doesn't have to sign.
That's a hard speech to follow, so I'm gonna do my best. I've been thinking this whole month about what I wanted to say. And I knew I wanted to speak, but I didn't really know what I wanted to say until this morning when I listened to my niece Shayla. And one amazing thing that she said was that even when my brother was going through things that no one knew he was going through, he was still there for so many people. And I realized, even today, we're here for him, but we're really not here for him, because he's not here.
Right.
He's whole, he's happy, and he's complete somewhere. This is really for us to say goodbye, and for us to try and feel a little bit better about the life he lived and how we lived our life towards him. The problem is, the sorrow and the sadness comes up with what we didn't do. Not what we did, what we didn't do. I'm the first person to stand here and say, I could have been better to my brother. And that is my thing that I have to now deal with. But that's not how he would want us to feel either. He would want us to continue and to do better. Better by him, better by his example, and better by the people he loved and cared about. So my goal is to make every single step that I take from here on out better. Better by everyone in this room who loved him as much as I love him or more. At no point in this life is time guaranteed. And I can tell you, there's no way I thought I would ever be making this speech at my brother's funeral. So with that being said, hug the people in your life a little tighter. Put yourself out there just a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, that is all that's left of you. What you leave behind and what you invest in others. I look out and I can't even imagine that he anticipated his time being so short. He thought he had another day, another week, another year, 3, 30, whatever, just like every last one of us does right now. And that's me. I thought I had more time with him, and I didn't. So, from this moment on, if there's one thing that I know my brother would want us to do, is to walk in the steps of preparedness, of understanding that no time is given. But what you have is right now, and what you have is today. So love those around you as hard as you can. Give back to those that don't have, even if you don't have. Because at the end of the day, that's all that's left. So I want his legacy to shine through everybody in this room. Every last energy and effort that you can put forward to make someone's life better. That's what I'm going to make my brother's life stand for. And that's what I'm asking of you. I appreciate everyone showing up. And I look out and I know that he loved every last one of you in some way, shape, or form. And because of that, I love every last one of you. Thank you so much for coming and honoring my brother. I appreciate you.
Now give her a hand clap.
All right, who's next? For real, yes, ma'am.
I have no idea what I'm going to say, but I am going to say I thank everybody for coming. I expected more, but with the streaming, I'm glad it's not as many people here because of the COVID. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for just the outpouring of love. I'm grateful for you guys showing up. I'm grateful for the support. I'm grateful that you guys are here because you didn't have to be. This is your time. You didn't have to be here. You're actually given a piece of your life that you can never get back. We don't know the day and hour that any one of us is going to leave here. And it's important just to say I love you. Just to turn to the person you love and say I love you. No one knows how much someone loves unless you let them know. And we take life and love and family and just for granted. And it's short. The time that we have here is short. And we need to relish every moment because it's not given to anybody to be anything beyond this time, right now, right here, with the person that you can share your life with. I beg each and every one of you to love each other wholly, not in part, not in pieces, but wholly. Because it's not promised to any of us. I had no idea what I was going to say. I'm only here to say I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the time that I've had with each and every one of you, whether you understand me or not, because sometimes I'm a little crazy. Some of you call me mean. But I love every one of you, and I thank you. I appreciate your love that you're giving me. None of us have had an easy life all the way through. None of us. Each and every one of us have had something that we've had to go through. Something that we have not been satisfied with. Something that we could have asked God, and we did ask God to do it differently. But He brought us through. Each and every one of us, He brought us through. And that's what we have to be grateful for. That's what we have to love and honor and appreciate each and every one of us for. Every act of kindness that we give each other. every stroke, every tear that we share, every time we say I love you, we have to appreciate the time that we have together. Because none of us know what's on the other side. I don't think any of us will be in this forum. If the bishop that I had in Florida, he would say, none of us would know our ex-wives or our ex-husbands we won't be the same form. We have no clue what form we'll be in. But the one thing that I do know is that the form that God allowed us to be in this body, in this shape, we should honor, relish, and appreciate it because it's for a reason. My belief is that this form prepares us for the next form. And we have to honor that and do the best that we can with it. I didn't know what I was going to say other than I appreciate each and every one of the children that God gave me. I want to tell you right now in front of everyone, I love you dearly. My grandchildren, God has blessed me to see this. My mother didn't get to see it. My mother didn't get to see me as an adult. My mother didn't get to see my children hold my grandbabies. None of that. Life is precious. And what time we have to honor, respect, and love each other. I thank each and every one of you for the love that you've given me, my family, my children, my grandchildren, and those that are to come. But please, let's love each other and get past our little idiosyncrasies. Let's get past them. Because they're only moments of anger, moments of anxiety. They're just moments. But what's important is the moment that you live with each and every one of us for the rest of our lives. I thank you for coming. I thank you on behalf of my son. I thank you. A lot of you remember his laughter. My grandbaby, I remember her riding on his leg. Get off my leg. No. I remember that. I remember that. I remember him on that bike. I remember the joy when he drove up. I remember his strength. I remember him. I remember him as a baby. I remember each and every one of my children. I remember the day that they came in. I remember what pain I had, whether it was pain, whether it was back pain. I remember being cut open for surgeries. I remember all of it. I'm even blessed. You guys, I went blind. I was literally blind 2 years ago. And God has blessed me to see today. Love life. Live life. Honor life. Honor the Creator that gave you life. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you for loving us. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you.
Anyone next?
I just want to say some quick words about Jay. We have a different connection to
I can't hear you.
we had a different connection through, some of our struggles and stuff through like the things. But I do remember he was the reason that I started liking bikes. He took me around a bike. That was the first time I ever was on the back of a bike ever. And I was probably scared out of my mind, but it was fun. I remember going downtown clubs and venues, and he would be doing security sometimes. And I knew I wasn't supposed to be in the venues. I wasn't nowhere near the age, but he always used to slide me in through the back door. Me and my whole posse. So, and he always just like, he was always uplifting. He never had a bad attitude or anything. So I just wanted to come up and express the love for him. I just finally met his son for the first time today. So that's a good thing. So I just, like my auntie said, she asked me to be here, and it wasn't going to be a question if I was and I wasn't. So thank everybody for coming, and I appreciate everybody. I'm sure my auntie does. My uncle, I called him my uncle. He's my cousin, but I always called him my uncle. Always, he was always my Uncle Jason. So my uncle with me. So thank everybody. I appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
Shayla, come on up.
Fighting Grandpa.
I too didn't know what to say. I wanted to write something and go off of what I wrote, but I just wrote that letter, put it in an envelope, and it's gonna go with him. When I was 3 years old, it's the first time I ever met him. And from there on out, he's always been my dad. He's always been there for me in the times that we were apart. We didn't talk, but he was always there. He found a way to find me, to be there for me, to show how much he loved and cared about me. I remember a time when he was riding a motorcycle. I was about like 7, and he took me for a ride a couple blocks of town, and it was scary, but it was fun, and I loved that experience. When I was a kid, he put me on his lap in a car and let me steer it around the parking lot. He did that often. And when I actually learned how to drive, I always had him. I've always had him in the back of my mind, telling me how to do certain stuff, or just like my daughter Katana, I used to be very active, and I used to play fighting with him as well. I learned a lot play fighting with him. And there was so many other memories with him as a kid. Because of him, I get in trouble. He would talk to me, but he would also have me do a bunch of conditioning. I'd have to squat up against the wall. Had to do a bunch type of things. But through that, I've learned a lot. I became a lot stronger mentally and emotionally through that. Like growing up, no matter what, he always showed how much he loved and cared about me, even though he's not biologically my father. He's always been my father. He's always been there for me. He did encourage me to give my real dad a chance. And I'm very thankful that he encouraged me to do something like that because I do have a bond with my own dad. But throughout my childhood, throughout my adulthood, Jay's always been my dad. He enjoyed my kids. He's been there for my kids. Every time I saw him playing with my kids, it reminded me of when I was their age and when I would play with him. He wasn't perfect. I went through a lot as a child, both good and bad, but no matter what, I was able to express certain things that I went through as a child, what things, how those things affected me. And he took accountability in whatever it was that he played a part in, both good and bad. And I forgave him. He changed as I got older. He became a better person, a whole better person when I became an adult. And the past couple of years have been some of the best years that I've had with him in my life. And seeing the bond that he had with my kids, it really meant a lot to me. From the times that, he was playing with my kids to answering the phone when I need some advice. The week before he left, weeks before that, he was helping me fix my car for like the 50th time. He showed me how to change my spark plugs. He did show me twice how to change my tire. He taught me a lot about my car. And I remember that day he was showing me how to change my spark plugs. It was like there's this bee that, that just like was lingering around us. There's this one bee, and I realized it was like following me, but I didn't want to say anything because I know he's afraid of bees. And so, but I didn't want it, to sting him either. So I just told him about it, and he took off from my car. I'm still standing there, but he took off from my car, and I was like, okay, I don't think it's gonna sting you, but I just wanted you to be aware. And then it came back to me, and so I figured, so he could finish doing what he needs to do on my car. I go inside, and a few minutes later, my son wanted to go see what his grandpa was doing, to my car. So I take him out, and I was like, did that bee leave? He said, yes, it left right after you left. And I was like, well, gee, thanks. So sure enough, a few minutes later, as I'm telling, Jason what, his grandpa's doing to my car, the bee comes back. And he started laughing, and I started laughing. I said, you know what, I'll just go inside, and when you're done, just come in and let me know. But then when he was done, my kids enjoyed looking at his motorcycle. There's been a couple times where they've sat on it, you know. But this last time, they sat on it and he turned it on. He let them rev it up. It was kind of getting loud. I'm like, okay, that's enough, you know. But they enjoyed it. They enjoyed playing with him for the last time. They got to try on his helmet, you know, his gloves, everything. And I can't say how much I'm grateful that that was the last time we got to see him because I learned something. I learned quite a few things that day, and my kids did get to enjoy playing with him and being on his motorcycle for the last time. I do feel like I had a lot of unfinished things to do with him and to learn from. But everything I have learned up until the last time I talked to him, I will pass on to my kids. And I hope that everybody, you know, can hold on to all the good stuff as well, just like I am. And if you haven't gotten to a place to forgive him for whatever, forgive yourselves for whatever, I hope that you guys can find peace in that as well.
Anyone else? Is anyone else going to come up? Brother Iman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Mine's a little different because I'm going to speak to my brother and just say, he's a good man. Really good man. The best man I know. And I'm very proud of you. I love you. I miss you. My best soldier. Always loyal to the end. And I love you, man. We'll see you in the sea.
Anyone else? Okay. If not, I guess we can go with the video presentation.
We're live on YouTube, so I have to mute because of copyright laws for the music. So give me 1 second.
That's it. Awesome. So did the funeral directors want to come through with instruction?
Sure. We'll be leaving at 12:30, so we still have about 40 minutes. If you want to come pay your respects to Jason and to the family, where there's no rush, please come and love on the family. And we'll be leaving around 12:35. Pallbearers, we will give you instructions as we get closer to that time. Thank you. Sir? I'm sorry? Oh, just knock the shoes in. Okay.